Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll give it a minute or two to allow those to join. So we'll start shortly. Okay, well, we're a minute after. We'll just go ahead and get started. Again, good afternoon. Thank you for joining the California Jobs First Business Ready Sites Program office hours. I'm Jolia Jackson. I'm the Regional Engagement Development Manager with the Office of Regional Engagement Development Initiatives team here at GO-Biz. And we're also known as the Ready Team. This session is designed to be a refresher. So whether you're new to the program or have been actively involved in submitting sites and partnering with us, we're here to share a few updates, hear any experience you may have, and answer any questions. So let's get into it. So for our agenda today, I'm going to cover a little bit about the Business Ready Sites program, just in case you weren't able to join us for the launch. Um, I will give a couple updates. Then we will have a regional data tool update, share some support and resources, and then go into our Q&A. So, as a quick reminder, the Business Ready Sites program, this was essentially born out of the California Jobs First initiative. It's powered by our Ready and CalBiz teams. It is a strategic effort to proactively identify and promote ready to go parcels across California's 13 economic regions. Um, we're looking for sites out ideal for headquarters, research and development hubs, and advanced manufacturing. These sites, they are vetted against a clear set criteria that we have established. And this really gives our CalBiz team the ability to respond quickly to business inquiries and showcase a curated portfolio to site selectors, investors, and growing enterprises. And so this is important for our state because in today's competitive environment, speed and certainty are everything. Having shovel-ready sites allows us to basically accelerate project timelines, reduce risk, and align with the broader regional planning and workforce strategies already underway through the California Jobs First initiative. So as a refresher, this program is built on 4 key pillars, looking at site identification as the first. We prioritize parcels with the right infrastructure, zoning, and workforce access. For outreach and promotion, we actively engage with companies and decision makers who are considering California. Regional collaboration, we work closely with local governments, economic development teams, and industry partners to ensure alignment. And then the last, business growth enablement. We support efforts that lead to quality jobs, innovation, and long-term competitiveness. Um, so since our last webinar, we've made some good progress. New sites have been added. Updates have been made to our regional data tool, which you will see in a little bit. And we've seen some good momentum from some of our partners. So excited about that. And so let's talk about some of the updates that we have. So I want to take a few minutes to share some updates on the Business Ready Sites program itself. While we haven't made any major structural changes since our launch in August of this year, there have been steady progress behind the scenes, and we attribute that to our partners' feedback, collaboration, and so we just appreciate all those who have joined in with us on this venture, I will say. So with the new sites that have been posted, when we first started, we only had 3 sites on our tool. At this point, we have 19, which is awesome. We've continued to have sites posted to the portal, and so we're really hoping that more regions will jump on board with us and participate in the program. So each site helps us build our statewide portfolio and gives us more to showcase to prospective businesses. So with our partner feedback, since our launch, we've had the opportunity to meet with a few partners. We've heard some concerns and we've, taken those concerns into account regarding feedback regarding our checklist and our requirements for the program. And while we haven't actually changed the program criteria, I do want to state that we recognize that not every site fits perfectly, right? And so we've built in some flexibility since the beginning or the start of the program to account for that. And so we appreciate the honest feedback that we have received. And we do understand that this is not a one-size-fits-all circumstance, and that each region across the state has something special to highlight. And so that's important to us. So our focus on top sites, we're aiming to highlight approximately 2 to 4 sites per region. We're looking at those that are truly investment ready or aligned with the California Jobs First priority sectors. And I think this is where collaboration is key. We're counting on all of our regional partners to kind of come together and determine which sites really rise to the top. And so we want to really highlight those that are within your region and make sure that we are pushing those forward. Another update for the program, we are in the process of hiring a Business Ready Sites coordinator, which I'm super excited about because this person is going to be able to support you directly along with myself and our GO-Biz team, but they will provide added support for site review and provide technical assistance. So the hope is that this person coming on board will enhance our response times and your user experience when it comes to determining if a site is considered business ready, having active communication, which I think that will pick up soon as we progress forward. But right now, most of you have spoken with me or we've had an opportunity to meet, and I, have provided some technical assistance, but we want to make sure that your user experience is a fantastic one. And so we are bringing on someone to help with that. So again, this role, along with myself, the GO-Biz team, will be a direct resource for you. someone who can help navigate submissions and also elevate promising opportunities. For our webinar series, excited to launch a webinar series. It will focus on how to get a site ready. And so each session is really designed to kind of dig deeper into the criteria and provide practical guidance. The webinar that we're going to bring to you next, that will be in November, will be called Building the Backbone. It's going to focus in on infrastructure readiness. And so looking at utilities and transportation access. Then we'll go into a webinar that will be titled Zoning for Growth. So we will, that will cover zoning, permitting, and land use entitlements. Then we will dive into environmental consideration for site readiness, looking at environmental compliance and CEQA certification, and then close it out with a webinar that will focus on site safety, grading, and physical readiness. So we hope the webinar series will assist in really being a support system to guide through the process and the steps of having your site ready. Okay, so now we're going to have our partners at FT Locations jump on. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so they can have control, and they are going to give us some regional data tool updates that will cover account registration, site submission, and any other updates that they have with the tool. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from FT Locations. This is Jeff.
Hello, everyone.
Jeff, do you want me to walk through some of the reports and the data updates, and then you can kind of pick up on the...
Yeah, just briefly go through that. And I just want to make sure we show the account submission and how to request an account, all that.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly share my screen. All right, so oops, minimize that instead of maximizing it. Everybody should be able, let's see. Can everybody see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're just starting out on the Jobs First website, and we're going to kind of go through how to get to the tools. So you're going to start out with regions and scroll down to regional data tools. You can get there through both of these, but this one's a little bit more direct. It takes you right to the tools versus this guy here. When you go find out more, you're going to have to go back into the tools through one of those links. So starting out here, we've got the main page. We can start by exploring locations, and we can look here, selecting a city, state, what have you, or we can just minimize that. This is the Explore Communities section. All the communities are here. You can take a look at city, county, state, or region. These regions are the regions designated by GO-Biz. Over here, we have the business ready sites. And let me just minimize this little sidebar here because it's in my way. And here we can see the sites. Now, if you want to submit a site, you're going to have to go up here to the top of the window where it says sign in, add properties. You're going to click there. And here you can either make an access request if you haven't been in before, And this will go to Julia for approval. Or if you already have one, you can log in here. Zoom Prospector is the name of the software. FT Locations is our company that owns the software. So that's what you're looking at there. Just because it does look a little different, want to make sure everybody is aware. And then in here, when we take a look at your sites that this is one of the sites that's submitted. You see we've got export options. We've got all the data that's been entered by the person who submitted the site. And we've got different photos. And then in here, we can also look at things around the site. These are our various data reports that we're going to take a look at in a second. But this just kind of gives you an idea of what is around. And when I look at stuff around here, I can also look at this in terms of minutes rather than miles. If I want to see what is around this pinpoint, which is the property. So that's a quick look at those property reports. As we go in here, one thing I did want to bring up that we didn't talk about last time, there is this really handy tool called Compare Communities up here. And that's something that's great to play around with. You can look at data side by side. This actually, I ran into one of my city council members recently and was showing him around, but you can kind of take a look at the data in this way too. But we're not going to focus on that too much right now. I just wanted to let you know it's there so you can play around with it. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our demographics tab. So here we've got the demographics of the teeny tiny Tacopa right here. While you are in these different data reports, if you are looking at them purely from the community perspective, we also have the ability to use these different map tools. So you can use a pinpoint and create a space around. And that looks like this. So you can, again, like do your minutes and miles and kind of see what's around the area. These demographics reports, you can scroll down to the bottom and the sources for everything and the date that it was updated are here. So this is from Applied Geographic Solutions. This was updated. This is through the end of June 2025. So this is a recent update. Usually we get the updates about a quarter after. So this goes through Q2. We get it in Q3 and then implement it on the site. And that goes for most of the data, but not all of the data. So demographics, it gets pretty granular here in ages. We also, have some great updates as far as wage data. So we've got this a lot higher. Obviously, California, very mixed place, $150,000 is a lot in some neighborhoods and not so much in others. All of us who have lived in the Bay Area can attest. But this is all in here. We can look at these in terms of numbers, or we can look at them as a chart. All of this can be exported. You can send this to a PDF and get a map view. You can send it to Excel. So if you want to take a look at, how many people, if you want to start adding up some of these numbers so you can see everybody between 20 and 35, export that to Excel, add up those numbers. Very helpful. And, print also available, although we're not doing so much printing these days. And then share. This gives you a unique URL to take you right back to the data you're looking at. Great for collaborating with colleagues, great for sharing with your community, also great for social media. If I shared this with all of you, then you would be able to see exactly this, this whole pinpoint that I'm doing. And oops, the toolbar has gotten in the way of my navigation. I don't know how to make that go away. All right. Next, we're going to take a look here at our occupation data. Again, you can scroll down to the bottom. You can see the source. This is EMSI, and this is all through Q2. And I am in Riverside City, not county right now. And we're taking a look. I've got a map turned on for our education jobs. And we can zoom in a bit more, and the heat maps will update. We can get down into the block group with the heat maps. It's a little bit slow because I've got a lot of tabs open. But here we can see the concentration of those jobs. So that's the occupation data. Next, we have this establishment data. This can give us all kinds of information about, right here, I've got small businesses, like very small businesses, one to 4 employees picked up here. This is full-time employees. And so, you're not necessarily capturing all those part-time folks. Unfortunately, again, this is from Applied Geographic Solutions. It's just a little bit harder to grab onto, especially with places that have a lot of seasonal work. But this is going to be all of your full-time employees at places. Moving on. We have consumer expenditures. This got a recent update. We've got all these drop downs now. So I can open this up, look at men's suits. And again, we can kind of zoom in a little bit here. And predictably, at least for those of us who know Sacramento, that's where the suits are. But yeah, we can kind of see that spending there. All of these, almost all of these have drop-down boxes. So, entertainment, etc. You can see how people are spending money on utilities, all of this. And again, at the bottom, we've got the sources. Also, if you ever want to learn more about, how this information is gathered, some of the methodologies, when you are in the back end, and Jeff can show you this, we have a help center. There is data information, and you can kind of see if you really want to like dig in and nerd out on how we get how the data is comes together, you can go ahead and do that in there. This is businesses. So here I am in Carlsbad now, and I have got a cluster on. So there's a few ways we can look at businesses. These clusters were designed specifically for this implementation. So these were all selected by our friends at GO-Biz. And I've got life sciences on since this is one of the focus areas. And you can see kind of how these businesses are clustered in here. You can see like the concentrations where things are happening. Really useful to kind of see the different business parks. Formerly lived and worked in this area, and makes a lot of sense to me. Here you can see when you turn on the cluster what NAICS codes are getting pulled up to get a little bit more information, get a little more granular in what you're seeing here. You can also click on these little dots and get some information. Employees, employee data is, again, it's going to be full-time employees. So you might see a business and be like, hey, they've got 20 people working there. Those people might be part-time. They might be contract workers. It's not a perfect capture, but it's a good capture of what's going on. And again, you can export So, well, this one's a little bit trickier with the export because this is from Data Axle and they're pretty protective of their data. But if you need certain data, you can reach out to us. But yes, when we're in the clusters, one of the things we can do that's new is we can turn on a heat map and we can look at that in this way and sort of see where those businesses are. This is a great visual, again, for planning, for kind of seeing where things are at. Great way to display the data. I don't know how many people are going to find that organically. So this is definitely one of those situations where you want to grab that share URL and share this with people. And again, this data is from Data Axle. This is also, I believe, through June. And if we turn off the cluster, I'm gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna turn off, you can see there's all off here. I'm gonna turn all off. And we've got all these different categories that you can go into and, you know, you can get a little bit more granular and pull up very specific things. So have fun with that. We're going to move on to our talent report next. So here I've got Paso Robles picked up quite specifically. Here I want to show, you know, there's definitely institutions in and around Paso Robles, but you'll see only the dots around here. So what we're going to do, this is because with the schools, it picks up the registered address for those little dots on the map, but I can go into higher education and I can flip these on and whoops. And now look at all the extra stuff that pops up. So now we can go in here and we can see additional information. And again, with the share button, if you have this map layer open and you grab the share URL, it'll share that information there. So if that's important to you, you know, go ahead and do that. We also have trades in here. So we're not just capturing universities, we're also capturing trade schools. Here it's a registered nurse program. A lot of times we'll also pull in you know, electrical, you know, schools that are teaching trades, truck driving schools, that sort of thing. And you can expand and contract the miles around. This data is a little bit different. These are coming from the Department of Labor and the degrees, and these dates are a little bit different. These are not going to be up to date to 6 months. So, you know, National Center for Education Statistics, 23 to 24, right? That's the class year that we've got in here for graduates. So it's a little bit more dated. We put it up when it comes out. So this is what's available now. The other one that does not regulate or update on a 6-month cycle is also going to be the wage reports. So these wage reports also too, I'm in Albany, but it's giving me, you know, the San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, Bay Area generally. And it's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics with their most recent numbers, which is 2023. So if you want to get a little bit better picture of wages, that might come in more in the demographics, which is more frequently updated, and AGS has their own methods for doing that. But this is the wage data that is available. So that's kind of that. And again, from any of these pages, you can go into the sign in and add properties. So you don't have to be specifically in the Business Ready Sites page. It's going to be at the top there every time while you're in the tools. So I think that is all I had to share on that.
Let me kind of take over and show how to get your site submitted into the GO-Biz site, and also apply to have them be the business ready sites. So let me go ahead and share my screen and make sure I do it right. Okay. Can you see my GO-Biz site here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, as Stephanie mentioned, if you don't have an account, or if you do have an account and you want to log in, you can just click on the sign in, add properties button here. And again, you can, if you don't have an account, you can fill out this request form. Note, this will not give you immediate access. What happens here if you fill this out is it does add you as a user, but as an inactive user, and the GO-Biz team does have to approve and activate your account. So if you submit that and it's been a day or so, I would say reach out to the GO-Biz team, Jolia. She can help you. You can reach out to me as well, but I usually defer to them because it's their decision. Now, once you're into the admin portal, this is what you should see. I'm just here under a test account here. And I'm going to just show quickly on one of my existing properties here. I don't want to step through adding a property, but I'm going to just click edit here, and it'll kind of mimic the process of adding a property. So I'm going to click edit, and this would be the exact starting place for adding that property. You would fill out the basic information, which is going to be the required or the most common information. When you put in the address, it's going to drop a pinpoint here. If you don't have an exact address, you can put in an intersection, a city, it'll get it close, but it's going to give you a warning that, it's not a rooftop address. You always have the ability to move that pin wherever you need it. You can turn on a satellite image. You can go into Street View and look at that. You can see this is probably some vacant land off of a road here. I think we're up in Redding, California here. Then you'd fill out any of this information that's relevant. You do need to select if it's a building or vacant land. You are required to put in the size. You can put in a min and a max. If it's the same, you'll just put the same number in. And then really the easiest way to get the information in here is really to use this description box here. The description box, if you're coming from a PDF or something, you can just copy and paste. It'll hold a lot of that formatting. And that way you're not going to go into each line item, which you'll see on the next tab in here. So once you've submitted that, you would typically click save and go to next tab. And that's going to bring us over into the more information. And this is where, I mentioned the description. You may not want to go in here off of each bullet point in that description and have to fill these out. So you can kind of use either or here and then fill out the information that's relevant. It's usually the building section that's, the most tedious. These other ones are a little more succinct, quicker to fill out here. Now here's the key for the business ready sites. There's these 4 bottom sections here that you'll want to fill out. The first section is zoning, compliance, and permits. You just need to answer each of these questions in here. Then you go to the next section, infrastructure readiness. Again, a lot of these are just drop down, pull down menus. And then additional information, again, drop down menus here to fill out. And then the final piece, this is what you want to do. You want to check submit for review and add a date. If you do these final 2 pieces, that notifies Jolia and her team to go in and review that submission. And then from there, they're able to then say it is a business ready site and activate it that way. So that's the process for filling out that information in there. Then beyond that is adding photos. You're just going to go in here. You can add as many photos as you want. If you go into a folder, you can hold shift and upload a bunch at once. You can upload documents. So if you have any documents you want to put in here, you would just upload them here. With the photos and documents, you can reorder those and to go in a specific order. So if you wanted, the photos to go in a certain array, you can do that.
Hey
And then-
Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Julie.
Yeah.
We're getting a comment. It's hard to see. If you could zoom in a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. So let me zoom in on my browser a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay,
Thank
now
you.
the only thing is I want to mention is it may mess with the formatting a little bit, but absolutely. So let me just go back then real quick in here. I just want to show this. So under manage properties, I'm going to go back into edit. And the most important thing for you to see in here is under that more information section, it's these 4 right here that you're going to fill out for the business ready. So just make sure you answer all these questions. And then the final section, which is submit for approval, check it and then put the date in that you submitted it. And then that'll ring it up for them to look at. And then just as I was mentioning, the photos you can add in there, documents, videos. This is just going to be a URL to whatever video you have. You're not uploading the video, you're just putting the URL in, and then we show it in the viewer that way. And then virtual tours are going to be less common, but again, it's a URL that might exist to an existing virtual tour. So if you have one of those cool building walkthroughs or maybe drone footage, anything that you would kind of consider more of a virtual tour versus a video, you would just put that URL in. And then the last one I'm going to mention here is just you're able to draw the site boundary. So if you have vacant land like we did with this property up here, you could draw out that parcel. So that way the user, when they click on this property, would have a better sense of where that goes. So then I'll just submit that, save boundary. And what I always recommend is once you've submitted this property in here, you can go back to your managed properties report. And there's the ability right in here to just link view that property. And this is going to take you over right here to that property. You can see the site boundary here. Again, here's that description that I just copied and pasted in there, made it really easy. And then if it is approved as a business ready site, it's going to get this flag on here. It'll be flagged as business ready and be available here on the site that way. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on that process, but you know, either after this, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to us or Jolia and her team. They can definitely answer questions on, especially on the business ready program.
We do have some questions, and
Sure.
actually, they were questions for Stephanie. Somehow they got past me.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, what kind of questions?
Stephanie, we have two questions. One question was, how do you get the businesses for clustering highlights?
So I can, oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
so if you're talking about how we set those up, basically, the GO-Biz team gives us the clusters they want to use, the name of the clusters, and then they let us know which NAICS codes those should include. And that's how we basically build the cluster. And that's the difference. A cluster can be a mixture of different NAICS codes, where the other business listings is, you know, each individual specific NAICS code. I don't know if that answered the question.
Okay, if there was any further clarification, then please just go ahead and add to the Q&A. And then the next question is, can one build your own custom cluster as a set of selected NAICS codes?
So no, for it to be truly treated as a cluster, we would have to add it to the overall application. However, you can go in there somewhat. So you could go in here. I'm just going to go back into this listing here, and I'm going to turn this radius up a little bit. One way you could at least visually do it is come in here. You could turn off all these, and you could come in and select just those industries that you wanted to include, and that would visually give it to you that way. The other thing you could do, see, and that's not going to give you the roll-up businesses here. This is giving the overall total businesses, so it's not taking into account what I turned on the map. Now you can come in here. Currently, you only can do it one NAICS code at a time. Actually, I might be wrong about that, and if I am, then no. So it is one at a time. So in this instance, you can't really, for these roll-up totals, you wouldn't be able to do that. The closest you could come is with that visualization. You could go in and just turn on those that you wanted to see.
All right, thank you.
And then also too, you know, when you do turn on those specific, you know, like Jeff showed at the beginning where he did the drop down and then turned on different businesses, all of the, you know, and kind of layered them together. You can then, you know, go to your share button and share that with folks. So if you wanted to take a look and, you know, highlight, let's see, like, you know, have restaurants and entertainment stuff up, right? Because they're like sort of symbiotic relationship. You know, you could go in there and then hit share and share that, or send it to a PDF or Excel. And, you know, kind of save your information that way. And then I think with one of the ways that the question that was before that about the business clusters, how do you get businesses for clustering highlights? I don't know. Was that about maybe what, like, if Jeff, if you turn on a cluster for me,
Yeah.
and then, or maybe one that's a little bit more robust.
The user was
And then you,
anonymous. But I'm
okay,
happy to unmute them if they wanted to
Yeah.
expand on that.
so if you
could
can
just
scroll, yes, Jeff, if you just scroll down, this is
Mhm.
what, because I was kind of showing, you know, you can open those up and then see what is highlighted in that cluster specifically. So I don't know if they just wanted a recap of that. But yeah, you can turn on a cluster and then scroll down, open it up, take a look at what's in there. And again, you know, you can export that to kind of explore a little bit more on your own. And I think when you do the Excel export, you know, you get the number of businesses and that sort of thing, but you don't get the names of all the businesses. So you're just sort of getting like what you see here. When you do the
Yeah, the export's
business
limited to the
report.
current view, so it's
Mhm.
not, if it would export this one section and give you the names, but
Oh,
when you're at the previous level, it's going to just give you the summary names. And again, this is just a licensing issue. All the other data sets we offer, you can pretty much extract all the raw data. This one's a little bit harder to get to that, just that specific to all the data. Were there any other questions?
Let's just double check one more time, see if we got anything on the. Nope. No
Jeff, before
questions.
you stop sharing,
Mhm.
do you mind just highlighting our Catalyst projects and awards real quick on our
Oh,
tools so
yes.
folks can see?
Oh,
So-
you know what? I'm sorry. There was one more question. Do you
Okay, go
mind,
ahead.
Julia? If I
Yeah, go
put
ahead.
in- What's the retention time for custom study areas, user drawn boundaries? These can be included in the share URL, but seems to fade out.
Yes.
After
I
a
believe
few
it's
weeks.
14 days. And so what they're referring to is if I go into like explore communities, and I'm surprised they found this tool, that means they're using it. But if I go to this area analysis and I define my own area, you can share the URL to this, but you don't really want to put it on your website because it will currently it does expire, and it's a performance issue. So that I'm almost certain it's 14 days on that. And then this URL will basically no longer function to draw this point array here.
Edward, did you want to add to that? I unmuted you. Oh.
So we're good?
Thank you. That answers my question.
Okay. And I'll check in. I mean, if you find that would be something useful, if it wasn't, running out, we've talked about it in the past. It's just, it becomes a lot of storage because each one of those is a unique array because of all the points in it, but let us know. Now, Julia wanted us to mention one new layer that we put in here. And was that under jobs first here?
Yep.
Okay. So if we turn this on, this is, and maybe you want to speak to a little more, but I'll just click on it. You can click on these and they're basically centered in each region. But when I
Yeah.
open this up, and I'll let you maybe kind of speak to this layer.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So across essentially what we've added to the data tool, we've added all of our Catalyst projects and awards throughout the state. And so, as Jeff mentioned, in the middle of each region, there is a pinpoint, and you can open that up. You can see which region it is, the California Jobs First convener, the specific project and award amount that was given. And then there's a hyperlink that will take you directly to the convener website. And so if you wanted more information about the projects themselves, or what's happening within that region, then you have the option to click on that too. But thanks, Jeff,
Yeah,
for
that was a fun
highlighting
layer to
that.
put together.
Yeah. Yeah, we totally appreciate you guys adding that in for us.
Great. And I assume it'll probably have to be periodically updated. So maybe we should have even put a date on this. Like that's always something we could add if you wanted, Juliet.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jeff and Stephanie, so much for going through that detailed overview of our regional data tool and going through the account request and site submission. I'm sure that's extremely helpful to our users, and we're hoping that we can get some more folks to sign up and submit some sites. So thank you.
Absolutely. Always happy to help.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm gonna share my screen. Jeff, I know you have to head out, so appreciate you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, perfect. Here we are. So I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. I know we only have about 15 minutes left, so I want to get to the main part so that you all can ask some additional questions. So we'll just cover some of some of the support and resources that are available to all. We have technical assistance. I'm offering one-on-one technical assistance if you reach out to me and you need a walkthrough through the account setup or site submission, or you just want to discuss a specific site and the eligibility criteria prior to going in and actually adding the site on. I am happy to meet with you and walk you through and provide that guidance. Obviously, our regional data tool is uh, at no cost to you, so we hope that you will enjoy using it. I dropped in the Q&A a link to our Business Ready Sites program guide. This will lay out for you our program criteria and give you an overview of the zoning and permitting and all of those things. We have an account registration guide that I will share and a follow-up email. Also, our business ready site submission checklist that will be in the follow-up also, along with Q&A. I'm sorry, FAQ that we have put together for you with some of our frequently asked questions, some of the questions that we've gotten over the last couple months. And so we think those are important to share out to you all. And so that will come in a follow-up along with our webinar series information. And just know that if you end up missing any of our webinars for the webinar series, we are recording all of our webinars in office hours. These will be available to you on the on our website and our YouTube page. So just know that you will have access, and we are going to be able to share out all this information and details to you all. So let's get to the fun part. This is all for you all. So we do have opportunity for you to ask any questions. Julie is going to be helping us out with this portion of the webinar. And so I think she will read out some of the questions if there are any in the Q&A right now, or if you want to share your user experience. If you have some, please, mention in the Q&A if you'd like to share anything. We'd love to hear from you. Julie?
Nothing new at the moment. There's been praise Alita said that Zoom Prospector is a tool that she's been a fan of since she saw it and just wanted to say thanks for the great tools. And Edward says, thank you.
Awesome. Well, if anyone wants to answer or ask a question live, feel free to add to the Q&A. No burning questions, so. Okay, well, I want to make sure that you all can get in contact with us and for questions or to set up a meeting with us. We are happy to connect with you. You can email our Business Ready Sites inbox, and that is businessreadysites@gobiz.ca.gov. Excuse me. You can also connect with our CalBiz team. And if there are any general GO-Biz questions, then we are happy to answer those as well. And you can connect through the QR code that will take you to our general inbox, and someone will get back to you within 48
We do-
hours with your questions. Go ahead.
We do have a few questions that I filed in.
Oh, okay,
Um,
cool.
How
Yeah.
is GO-Biz sending out? How is GO-Biz sending? I think they need the sites tool out to prospects at the moment. Do you want me
Yeah,
to?
right now, go ahead, Julie.
I was just gonna say right now, when we do meet with folks, and we share like our incentive toolkit, we will also include the link to the site in our incentive toolkit and let them know that we have sites loaded in that statewide that they may also want to take a look at as they're looking for sites. Do you want to add to that, Julia?
No, that's great. I think too, we are through our webinars and our contact list, that through our CalBiz team, we have lots of partners that we connect with and are sharing out information to. So this information will go out to all those that have joined us today, but also our the CalBiz business specialists have also reached out to a lot of their partners and shared information on our Business Ready Sites program. So we are spreading the word and hoping that you all can share out as well.
We also promoted and link it in our monthly newsletter also. It goes out statewide.
Yes, and our newsletters.
Okay, next question. Is there a special registration category for consultants?
As far as requesting an account,
I believe so. That was a question from Edward. Edward, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you again.
Hi, I'm an employee of Economic and Planning Systems, and we're assisting with some technical assistance for the Contra Costa County Northern Waterfront and East Bay EDA member jurisdictions in Alameda County. Very much like the tool. I just wondered if there's a special access set aside for consultants. I would imagine we wouldn't have anything like the access that a participating jurisdiction would have, but might be able to see a little bit more about how the input pages work, for instance.
yeah. So if you are connected with an EDO or city, county, and any of our economic development partners, and that's the work that you're doing, you can request an account and we'll provide access. It's not open to all. I'm not sure if you were able to open up the program guide that we have, but it is specifically for those partners that are doing economic development work, not necessarily for those that are like, for instance, realtors.
Right.
Yeah, so it's important, I think, when you request an account, that you indicate the organization that you're working with, so that way we know that you're connected with them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's see. What is the best way they can leverage the website for their RFI responses to GO-Biz or other partners? You want me to answer that, Julia?
Yeah, if you could, Julie.
So right now there's not, and this is from Alita. So right now there's not a way to do RFI responses through this tool. Maybe you're thinking like using the sites that you have loaded in the tool for your RFI responses. I believe that there's a PDF export that you could export the information and then add that to your proposal response. We are working with FT locations on potentially having an option in the future of somehow integrating these and submitting them through the tool. But there's still a lot that we need to work out on how to launch something like that. And we're just getting started on this. So maybe to be continued on this one. But for the time being, I think the best thing would be to just export the information that you have on the tool and add it to your proposal package. And we'll keep you posted on any changes in the future.
Right. Any final questions?
Yeah, yep, there's more.
Okay, cool.
Are you all seeing any particular types of sites that are in particular demand? Example, size, use, etc. I would say just to answer that from what we're seeing on site selection requests is anything that has a large load of power. Lately, you know, data centers, battery manufacturers, all of those have like been hitting really hard, where folks are looking for large power loads. And a lot of times they're like, we don't care where it's at. If the power is there, we'll locate there. You know, we hear that a lot. So I definitely would say that anything that has a large availability or potential hookups to a large load of power is very attractive these days. It just seems like demand for power keeps going up and up, which makes it very challenging for our utilities to be able to keep up with the demand. But also like rail access makes sites very desirable as well, being close to the interstates for logistical reasons, all of those things. Hopefully I kind of hit on what you were looking for there.
Okay, 1 minute left. Any other last final
Yep.
thoughts or questions?
Best go-to resource for small rural resources constrained communities. Best go-to resources. I mean, you can use us as a resource, and I'm not sure what types, like financial resources, but definitely reach out to us and we can point some tools out to you for sure. This is Christina. And then is there a checkoff list that I can use so I understand what the business ready sites is?
Yes. So we will send out the business ready sites submission checklist to everyone. So you'll have the actual two-pager guide that lists out the requirements. You'll have the checklist available, also a guide for access requests, the FAQ, webinar series, links, and anything else we feel like we can dump on you to give you tons of resources to get you going with the program. So we're hoping to provide those tools within the next week. One of our colleagues who normally sets up our webinar series, she's in training this week, but we want to try and get that going and send you guys out all the information so you have it available.
Okay, great. Alita says thank you. She appreciates the response. She's gonna go ahead and do the export option. Christina says thank you. And Magdalena says thank you. I need all the resources I can have. So it sounds like everybody's very appreciative, and we are appreciative for you all joining us and using the tool. It's great to see it in action.
Yep. Thank you to all for joining us this afternoon. Thank you to Stephanie and Jeff for joining us and walking us through the tool and all of the great questions that have been asked this afternoon. We appreciate you, your support, and look for the information to come. Thank you and take care all.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.